The envelope arrived on a rainy Thursday. It was thick, too thick to be normal, and it wasn't addressed through official court channels. No stamp, no registry, just a name, handwritten in sharp, deliberate ink, Honorable Justice Leonard Vance. And beneath it, one word, urgent. Inside his chambers, Judge Leonard Vance didn't look like a man who feared anything. 40 years in the justice system had carved his name into marble, respected, untouchable, feared. He was known as the Hammer because when he brought down a verdict, lives shattered, no hesitation, no mercy, no mistakes. At least, that's what the public believed. He stared at the envelope for a long time, then locked the door, drew the blinds, and opened it. Inside was money, stacks of it, neatly bound, fresh, silent. But that wasn't what made his hand tremble. It was a note tucked beneath the cash. A single sentence. One ruling. That's all it takes. Across the hall, someone was watching. Her name was Maya Daniels, 23. Final year law student. Intern. Invisible. Or so everyone thought. Maya had learned early that power didn't announce itself. It whispered behind closed doors, in quiet exchanges, in things people thought no one noticed. And today, she noticed something. The judge had locked his door. That never happened. She pretended to sort files, but her eyes stayed fixed on the narrow gap beneath his office door. Minutes passed. Then, shadows moved. Fast. Nervous. Not the controlled, composed figure she was used to seeing. Something was wrong. Inside the chambers, Judge Vance wiped his forehead. This wasn't supposed to happen. He hadn't agreed yet. Had he? No, but he hadn't refused either. And in his world, silence was consent. The case, that was the problem. State versus Daniel Mercer. A corporate fraud case. Millions stolen. Investors ruined. Families destroyed. It was supposed to be straightforward. Open and shut. But now someone wanted Mercer free. Badly enough to send this. Vance looked at the money again. His reflection stared back at him from the polished wood desk. Older, tired, and for the first time in decades, tempted. You've earned it, he whispered to himself. After everything. All the years, all the sacrifices, all the decisions that broke people for the greater good. Wasn't he owed something? Just once? Outside, Maya stood still. Then, she heard something. A drawer sliding open, followed by a soft, unmistakable sound. Paper being stacked. Her stomach tightened. No, not him. Anyone but him. Judge Leonard Vance had been her hero. The reason she chose law. The reason she believed justice wasn't just a word. And now, something inside that room didn't feel like justice. She moved closer. Careful. Quiet. The door wasn't fully shut. Just slightly misaligned. Enough. She shouldn't look. She knew that this wasn't her place. But something deeper, something instinctive, pushed her forward. Maya leaned just enough to see inside, and froze. The judge was counting money. Stacks of it. Calm. Methodical. Like it was just another routine task. Her breath caught. No, this wasn't real. This couldn't be real. Then he stopped and looked up. For a split second, their eyes met. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Maya stepped back instantly. Heart pounding. Too fast. Too loud. She turned and walked away. Not running. Not yet. But every instinct screamed the same thing. You've just seen something you weren't meant to see. Inside the chambers, Judge Vance stood still. Completely still. Then slowly, he closed the envelope. She saw, he muttered. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it again. The money, the calmness, the betrayal. She sat up at 2:13 a.m., laptop open, hands shaking, and typed one word into the search bar. Mercer. What she found made it worse. Much worse. Daniel Mercer wasn't just guilty. He was devastating. Thousands of victims. Retirements wiped out. Hospitals defunded. Families bankrupt. One woman had even taken her own life after losing everything. And tomorrow, Judge Vance would decide his fate. Maya stared at the screen. Her hero was about to let a monster walk free, unless she stopped him. But how? She was nobody, an intern, no authority, no power, no proof, just a glimpse, a moment that could easily be denied or buried. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A voice spoke. Low, calm, controlled. You saw something today. Maya's blood ran cold. Stay out of it, the voice continued, or you'll regret it. Click. The line went dead. Now she knew this wasn't just corruption. This was something bigger, organized, dangerous, watching, and she was already in it. The next morning, the courtroom was packed. Media, victims, lawyers, everyone waiting. Judge Vance entered like nothing had changed. Robed, composed, untouchable. Maya sat in the back, heart racing, eyes locked on him. He didn't look at her, not once. The case began. Arguments presented, evidence reviewed, everything by the book. Perfect, clean, convincing, until the final moment. Judge Vance adjusted his glasses, cleared his throat, and spoke. After careful consideration, Maya held her breath. This court finds a defendant. A pause. Long. Heavy. Not guilty. Gasps exploded across the room. Cries. Shock. Disbelief. One woman collapsed, screaming. Mercer smiled. And in that moment, something inside Maya snapped. No, this wasn't justice. This was theft. Of truth. Of lives. Of everything the system was supposed to protect. And she wasn't to stay quiet. That night, she made a decision. One that would change everything. She went back to the courthouse. It was risky, illegal, possibly career-ending. But she didn't care anymore. If the system was broken, then someone had to break it further to fix it. She accessed internal logs, security cameras, entry records, financial trails. Hours passed. Then she found it. A transfer. Hidden. Layered. But not invisible. A shell company. Linked to Mercer. Sending funds. To an account. Judge Leonard Vance. Maya stared at the screen. Proof. Real proof. Her hands trembled. Not from fear. But from something else. Power. For the first time, she wasn't invisible. The next move was everything. Expose him? Go public? Report internally? Each option had consequences. Dangerous ones. She chose the hardest one. She leaked it. Anonymous. To the press. To watchdog groups. To anyone who would listen. And then she waited. 24 hours later, the story broke. Headlines exploded. Respected judge accused of bribery. Corruption in the courtroom. Is justice for sale? The system shook. Judge Vance was arrested. But that wasn't the end, because during the investigation, something unexpected surfaced. The money, the transfer, the case. It was just the beginning. There were more, many more, years of quiet decisions, subtle manipulations, cases tilted just enough to benefit the right people. A network, and Judge Vance was only one piece of it. In his cell, he sat alone, for the first time in decades. Powerless. Then the door opened. Maya stepped in. He looked up, slowly. You, he said. She didn't flinch. You could have ignored it, he continued. Walked away. Lived your life. Maya stepped closer. And let people suffer? She replied. He smiled. A tired, broken smile. You think you won? He asked. She didn't answer. Because deep down, she wasn't sure. People like me, he whispered. We don't exist alone. Silence filled the room. Take me down, he continued, and you'll see how deep this really goes. Maya held his gaze. Good, she said, then turned and walked away. Weeks later, the trials began. More arrests, more names, more secrets dragged into the light. Daniel Mercer, rearrested. This time, no escape. Justice came back. Slow, painful, but real. And Maya, she became something else entirely. Not invisible, not small, not afraid, but as the dust settled, a final envelope arrived. No stamp, no sender, just one sentence inside. You expose a judge. Now expose the rest if you dare. Maya stared at it, long, silent, then looked up, because somewhere out there, the real architects were still watching, still powerful, still hidden, and this time, they knew her name. So here's the question. If you were Maya, would you stop here, or would you keep digging? Even if it could cost you everything? Backhand index pointing down, drop your answer in the comments.